Rise for the flag salute. Mr. Lim, would you please lead us? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, 1975, I hereby state that notice of the special meeting has been provided to the public by written notice dated July 20th, 2022. The meeting notice has been emailed to all staff members at the District 3 schools, 2 communicated to at least one of the board's designated newspapers, and 3 filed with the Borough Clerk of Palisades Park. Roll call, please.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Here.
Yoon Min?
Here.
Aniesca Garcia?
Here.
Kevin Lim?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Here.
John Matisich?
Here.
Charlie Shin?
Yes.
Sarah Kim?
Present.
Alex Kandowski?
Here.
Okay, I'd just like to start off by saying that, I'm very, very pleased to see everything being done at the schools. Dr. Cirillo's been on top of everything, including, I believe today an inspector came and Mr. Spalazzo walked them around to see about the asbestos. And I know last night when I left the council meeting, they mentioned, was I there, and I had to leave. But we are on top of everything. I think Dr. Cirillo can make a statement on that, about the asbestos.
To the best of my knowledge, any areas that have ever been identified, in conjunction with our maintenance and custodial department, we act on it immediately.
Yes.
We have air quality testing performed, whether it's asbestos, whether it's water damage that may cause mold. Immediately we hire professional companies to remediate those concerns. Children, staff are removed prior to even receiving reports. And until we have a clean bill of health, those areas are not utilized. And all of those reports are in central office.
Excellent. And I was notified just a few minutes ago that we have no mold, so that's a good thing. So we are fine. Okay, thank you.
For you if you want.
And in fact, we had an inspection today as well. Okay, report of the superintendent.
Again, other than a successful summer school program, ESY program that we've instituted, and credit to anyone and everyone involved in it, we've had a productive month of July for the most part. We have been recipients of the preschool eligibility grant. Our continuation of that program will be obviously in September. I also have a letter from the governor's office where they are pleased to announce that our budget has increased an additional 6.2%. So we are receiving additional money from the state of New Jersey, approximately $137,361 additional dollars from last year. So some good news, finally getting some money. Working with our architects on our HVAC projects. The roofing project at the junior senior high school in the auditorium will begin on August 1st as scheduled. And soon thereafter, the gymnasium sanding of the floor will begin in the month of August. Lindbergh Elementary School has been completed with the sanding of their gym floor.
Excellent, excellent, thank you. Next would be a report of the board attorney.
I have nothing.
Okay. Next would be the minute approval for May 24th. We'll do it separate. Do I have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion for approval.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yoon Min?
Yes.
Aniesca Garcia?
Yes.
Kevin Lim?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
John Matisich?
Yes.
Charlie Shin?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and now I'd like to entertain a motion for the June 16th, 2022 minutes.
June 18th.
I'm sorry, is that it? It says 16th
Oh,
on here.
there's a typo on here, 16th.
16th. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I make a motion.
Second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yoon Min?
Yes.
Aniesca Garcia?
Yes.
Kevin Lim?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
John Matisich?
Yes.
Charlie Shin?
Yes.
Okay, next will be committee reports, and I'd like to congratulate all 3 of the
ones that are on here now that we're going to have meetings on, and a fourth one, Agnieszka, that you did an excellent job with them, and I was at the 3 yesterday. And I'm glad that you're so on top of everything, and I thank you. Finance first, Mr. Lim.
Okay, on the finance, we have 5 consent agenda to resolve. With the one comment that we just went through all the expenses, right? And I just make a comment that I just wanted to see the 5-year plan report, so that I just suggest that for next renewal, we need to see. I mean, when it comes to general commercial lighting and works conditions, right?
Yes.
Well, like a little over $200,000, right? So I just want to see the claim reports. Yeah, we approve this one, but
Yes.
I just want to see the claim reports for 5 years, right? And I just strongly recommend that we just want to invite at least like 2 additional competitive bidders when it comes to renewing the
Good point.
next, next.
Good
I
point.
mean, the policy. Yeah.
Alex, can you get that to them? That'd be great. Okay, do I have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yoon Min?
Yes.
Agnieszka Garcia?
Yes.
Kevin Lim?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
John Matisic?
Yes.
Charlie Shen?
Yes.
Great. Next, buildings and grounds, Mr. Shen.
Yes, building and ground committee, I have for the motion of 3 resolutions to have in front of you.
Okay, do I have a second on that?
Second it.
Okay, any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yoon Min?
Yes.
Agnieszka Garcia?
Yes.
Kevin Lim?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
John Matisic?
Yes.
Charlie Shen?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Next, personnel, Ms. Min.
Yes, sir. Before ours, we have 8 resolutions. I'd like to make a motion that
Consent agenda. Thank you. Second on that?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yes. There is some concern about in the town, okay, about like some kind of the nepotism, the potential nepotism or possible nepotism, whatever. And so they say there is some relative person to the Board of Education
Yes.
is involved in this
Yes,
resolution.
and that's why that
I
has to
wanna-
be recused.
And I wanna know what kind of action and what kind of consideration and what kind of the ground you made, Doctor, the superintendent made before you make the recommendation. I wanna,
Of course, so we have a policy
explanation about
that
this.
prohibits any any concern of nepotism here. Just like any administrative or any position where I make recommendations to the board. I meet with the candidates, I ensure that is the recommendation of mine, not just because I like the individual, but because I also inquire with my building principals. We have rubrics, we go through an evaluation of the candidates. We vet the most qualified and deserving person, and for that reason, I make the recommendations as I do. There is no concern of nepotism on any of these recommendations.
So, yeah, I think in connection with that, Dr. Silver, yeah, could you explain what's the basis, what kind of, things you just went through with the, particularly, here, right, James Mascaro, right? Just wanted to see, listen to what is your kind of overall, evaluation process? Any candidate, competing candidate?
Of course,
that you use?
so we have to be very cautious with the individuals as no one has been right,
Do
as
we have
we
to
all
say
know.
the names, whatever, yeah.
You said the name, so he doesn't have to.
Yeah,
say
I
the
won't
name.
mention any names, but for the record, I can go and tell you publicly that we interviewed 5 candidates. Those 5 candidates were then drawn down to the top 2 finalists.
Okay.
I met with the 2. I have rubrics, as I mentioned last month. Again, any supervisory, any administrative, any personnel matter is properly vetted to ensure that the most qualified candidate, regardless of who they are,
Okay.
is my recommendation to this board.
So those 2 candidates is from school or?
Yes, sir. Both of them are internal candidates.
Okay. And also, I just kind of curious, what was now like the compensation, right? $82,000, right? For once you get this job, right? What are your previous compensation? Could you? I just wondering.
For this position,
Yeah.
It was equivalent to this, very equal.
Oh, is it just equal?
Very equal.
No raise, whatever.
If there is, it's very minimal. Very
Oh,
minimal.
Okay.
Very
Because
minimal.
I was a little bit curious because once you got this position,
Yes.
what kind of raise it's gonna get it for? So less than 5%.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
So, what kind of the time the frame is involved in selecting this kind of the
So,
position?
so the position is open and available because last month we hired a high school principal who vacated a position. I don't like to wait, I don't like to drag my feet, I like to fill our vacancies ASAP because it does two things. It allows us to properly plan for our coming school year that will be before us in a blink of an eye, but it also sends a message to our faculty and staff that if they are most deserving, we are going to give them every opportunity. I think it's a credit, an honor that they've served in our district for so long, and if they're most deserving, I give them the opportunity.
What I'm saying is, okay, usually, to choose the good person is your responsibility, but it is our responsibility too.
Yes.
So we have to evaluate, if there is any people like this, we have to evaluate with enough time to study and to check with the persons I know in the town, okay?
Yeah, the Board of Education
So
doesn't
usually,
evaluate.
but these days, usually we are getting this kind of information like 1 or 2 days advance, which is not enough time to evaluate. So I want to have that kind of information at least like a week ago, and I need at least a week, 1 week to evaluate and to study about that person if it is okay to you.
I have no
In the
concern with
future,
giving you that information in the future 1 week prior, but the evaluation of the candidate, the research of the candidate, that's not the responsibility of the Board of Ed. The recommendation of the superintendent is to be voted on by the board. Again, I respect that you wanna do your homework.
Yes.
But I think that unfortunately, my job is to make the recommendation, and you can vote affirmatively or deny my recommendation.
Yeah, but to the board, like, we have to know about that. Without any knowledge or any information, we can't vote. So eventually, to the board, we have to have that kind of information in advance and evaluation procedures. That's our responsibility to the board.
I'm not sure what you mean by the evaluation procedure.
I think it's gonna be similar. It's kind of same vein. Remember last time when it
Yes.
comes to proving the Basha in Sebastian, right? Because what I suggest at the time is that because I need to make her educate the decision, right?
Yes.
Not rush like 1 or 2 hours before the meeting. So we just got the regimens and we need to make some kind of decision, right? Well, it's not the evaluation, by the way. We need to see, what kind of person he is, right? Candidate is, right? Okay, we can just communicate with the parents and the teachers, and there's a lot of ways we can see. We can evaluate. I think some sort of like, additional research, right? See, that allow me to make a, more educated decision, right? Not the way that we simply got the information that, we don't know. I know you just went through all the used the rubrics and all the benchmarks, right? For as the director, board of director, right? I think always make some good is the decision, right? So I think that might be the case there. Where I just wanted to see.
So again, I know last month because of a death in the family,
Yeah. I know you have
information was
some-
shared,
yeah.
a resume was shared with the board hours before the meeting, and I was ensuring that did not happen, and I know my secretary, Ms. Montemuro, shared resumes yesterday afternoon, I believe. So again, I wish that if there was some concerns from yesterday afternoon when the board received those resumes, that anyone would call me, anyone would ask me, and I would be more than happy. I don't put my name, I don't recommend people unless I feel strongly about their character, about what they can provide our school and our students. So this is not, I just flip a coin and say, I'm gonna pick this person because they have, you know, an opportunity to
Yeah,
help
we
us.
always try to respect your decision, but, you know, as, like I said, you know, final decision, either, you know, yay or, yay or nay, right? We have to, you know, have some kind of information, right? I think that's the kind of things that we just want to express here, right? So, you know, I don't wanna feel I don't see myself like, you know, forced to make a, you know, last minute decision kind of thing. So that, yeah, even though you sent, you know, yesterday, maybe, you know, we could call you, but, you know, if you have little in advance, right? Or at least like a couple of days, you know, final decision, or week, you know, before the kind of decision, then it would be a lot more ample time to just go over. So that's the kind of things I just want to make a point.
So just, are we all in agreement that a week prior to the meeting would be, I don't know when this decision was made.
I could have more than, I would have been able to share information like this more than a week ago, yes.
Okay, so so that we don't keep track, because I understand everyone's concerns, but just so that we figure out a path forward, a week prior to the meeting, is everyone in agreement that
Yes.
that would be sufficient and adequate time
Yes.
in order to be able to make an informed decision?
Yeah, I think a week in advance, that might be, you know, ample.
On any position,
Yeah,
any
that's-
personnel.
Right, or the information on whoever the recommended, the resume, let's say, had you received the resume
Would that be
last
for
Tuesday,
teachers?
correct.
That's what I'm
Or
saying.
for
Correct.
Well, for
secretaries or anything
for
like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, rank and file.
Is it for- well, that's where it gets tricky.
Yeah, like a regular, you know. the
So that's where, is it everyone, because then we have to be very careful, and it should be the
Respect.
resume of everyone
Everyone.
No,
who is
no.
on the personnel committee, not just select individuals. So as a board, we need to make a decision moving forward, whoever is on personnel, whoever, whether it's a custodian, whoever it is, whoever is being recommended by the committee, we have to be uniform.
Right.
Everyone's resume should be provided to the board a week before.
So whether
Not-
it's an aide, or
Correct,
whether it's
not
a
not
secretary,
position,
that's
it is
right.
everyone who is being recommended by personnel.
I cannot promise you that every position is satisfactorily today, for example. The agenda changes, it's a living document at times, as you know, we see many additions. I can offer someone a job last week, they may not call me
Right.
until today.
And accept it,
This
right.
afternoon at 2:30, a young lady came in to sign her contract. I'm not going to make a recommendation and then not have her accept that position.
Yeah.
So something like that, a 1 week prior notice would not be
Right.
doable. I think we have to understand that there are, again, some constraints, and I do meet with the personnel committee, like I meet with finance committee.
Yeah.
I discuss all of these recommendations,
So
I
then, just so
will
that we're on
do,
the same page, that would be ideal, but there has to be some flexibility, given the reality of what day-to-day
Yeah, at
transactions look
least there
like.
should be, you know,
Yeah.
1 or 2 days, like, you know, if there's.
Well, we're getting better, we
Yeah.
got it
Yeah,
yesterday
that's
versus
That's
hours
right.
before, so we've
That's
made
right.
progress since
Moving
the last
forward.
meeting.
We're not asking for the teacher's position, we're just asking for.
Yeah.
No, no, I think you
And
said
that's where I
for
think we
all
need to be
No,
careful.
not all person, like I said.
It
rank
has to
and
be
file
all or
person.
none.
Yeah, we don't have to, you know, concern about like a rank and file.
any administrative or supervisory position,
That's right.
any
Yeah,
higher
and,
level.
Any kind of connection, like for example, like in this case, like any kind of connection, we just want to see because it's a little concern us, right? So, you know, whether there's any kind of connections, whatever. So in the case that like some kind of exception, but you know, mostly supervisory or you know, or might be you know best candidate that we just get.
I can make every effort to ensure that in you know, advance notice will be given. I will do my very best. I think we did better than a couple hours. We did it a day and a half almost, but now I'll do better than that.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, Dr. Sterling, you are confident that the recommended individuals have the required experience and educational background to fulfill their duties?
100%.
Okay, thank you.
And also, like, when you finalize to pick up the right person, how many, people were involved? Because,
Yep.
it's very important. Because administrator and supervisor, principal, you know, you have to talk about that situation with the parents, teachers, so you have to research. So I think, we need kind of an evaluation committee. Because I was confused, I thought the personal committee, do that, but it was wrong. But we need to make kind of evaluation committee, and parents can involve, and then, teachers
I
can
don't know if we can
involve.
get parents
So it's-
involved
You know, because, sometimes we have to listen to the parents too. Because, they have their own opinion. So I think it's better to, put in their opinion too.
But how
So
would a
like,
parent, I mean, just to try to process that idea, since we're having this conversation, how would a parent be qualified to give an opinion? Unless we were to disclose public, private information
No, I mean,
of candidates, I just wanna understand
No,
how
I
we
mean,
can make this a reality.
when Dr. Cirillo select a person inside of the school district, so maybe you could research, to have a meeting with the parents, because they know good too.
Okay,
And
so
the
let me
teachers
just make a
know,
comment,
because
couple of comments about this, because
Yeah.
this is, seems like, again, it's unfortunate that the board has to have this, this discussion openly, in front of public. This is something that board should have done during the workshop. I've recommended to have a workshop or caucus meetings,
Oh, which we did yesterday.
you did.
Yes, we had a
Okay.
personnel meeting,
But
I
it's
think 10:30.
it's a personal meeting, but all the board needs to be on the same page.
Ms. Kim is
in terms
referring
of-
to a work session.
A work
Correct.
session.
Prior
Correct,
to,
exactly.
advertised separately from.
Exactly, like 30 minutes before the meeting, you can come meet
As a work
early
session.
and then talk about what the agendas and then some of the concerns that you have, share, and then Dr. Cirillo or Dr. Matarazzo
Well, then
can
why do
speak
we have,
openly.
why do we have chairman and committee personnels in charge of different committees, when their job is to meet together, 3 people, without going against the sunshine laws, 3 people meet, they go like Dr. Matarazzo said, they met on the personnel committee, the 3 decided these were the perfect people. Now, if you're gonna take that away from them, then we should not have enough committees.
Right.
No, I didn't
Well,
say.
if that's what you're saying, that's, to me, that's what you're saying, we're supposed to meet as a board to do the job of a committee, which
No.
is wrong.
So other board of eds, they normally have
Work
work
session.
sessions.
Well, they
Yes,
do, I'm not saying-
Work session is for all the members,
Or
not
for
only
everything on the agenda,
committee
for
head.
everything on the agenda, not just for certain
Right.
things.
Correct,
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree
That's
with
what
that
I'm
then, we
saying.
used to meet in prior years,
Yes.
we used to meet twice a month, or a week before the regular meeting, discuss everything.
Exactly,
And
that's
then
what I
even
think
the
the
public
board
sat, sometimes even the public sat in the audience, but they did not participate. The following week, when we had the regular meeting, then if they had questions on what they heard from the week prior, they were able to ask questions on what we
Yeah.
decided.
Right, so remember what Diana suggested last time, it's always a good idea to show uniform board in front of a public.
course.
So this kind of, discussion should be done, again, in the work session or executive session.
But that's also in public.
Correct, well, no.
Work session?
Not
If there's
work
a
session,
quorum,
not
no?
executive
Okay.
sessions, yeah. And, another thing that I wanna mention is about, forming an interview committee. Dr. Cirillo is absolutely correct that, the board's involvement in terms of hiring staff members or administrative members is very limited. There are cases that the board can form interview committees, but it's only for just observation. It's not like you can evaluate individual committees or their resume, but you can just participate and observe how the
observe.
decision process was made. And also, I know, Ms. Min, just suggested about having the parents involved. There are incidents having like, the public, member of the public involved, but that's something that needs to be, discussed a lot in depth. So again, I go back to my first point, this is exactly why the board needs to meet among the members meet among themselves in a work session or executive session, and then talk about, these ideas, concerns freely. And then, you come up with the basic or the ideas that are absolutely necessary for the board, and then you prosecute. So I see, the same pattern over and over again, and this can be easily corrected if, as John mentioned, if you have the regular.
Work session.
Exactly.
Okay, but it is Dr. Cirillo's ultimate
Correct.
Correct,
recommendation.
exactly. So
that
the
we have
board
to-
just need to get involved to observe. That's it.
Right, but
Yeah.
not to participate.
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? If not, roll call please.
Dr. Matarazzo.
Yes, I have to recuse myself on, number 2.
Yun Min,
Yes.
Anieska Garcia,
Yes.
Kevin Lim,
Yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
John Madison.
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
Thank you. Again, in the future, if we could just, try to accommodate, and if you want, if the pleasure of the board is to have a work session the week before, would you like that?
I can do that.
Okay, so you wanna have 2 meetings, so maybe I'll ask Diane.
Either that or half an
Half
hour,
hour before.
45 minutes before the
Before the
meeting.
act,
Like we
right.
met tonight at 6.
Correct.
Our regular meeting would be at
5:30.
7.
Right.
You know, that's our
So
regular
would that be
meeting time.
better, having
That
it
would be even
before
better.
the regular
It
meeting?
all
Yeah, I
depends.
think that's better because, if you have like a week before, then some kind of agenda should be available, because, just wanna go over and,
So we'll have it a half hour before our regular meeting, so if our meetings, is that time good? Cause I know some of you cannot make it before 7 to our regular meeting, so if we make it 6:30, that would be okay?
Yep, I can.
Okay, so then it'll be, the next meeting, we'll have a 6:30 work session, 7 o'clock regular meeting.
Okay.
Okay,
I
thank
think
you.
Before we continue, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Dino Eliopoulos and Mr. James Muscola.
Okay, the next, item will be curriculum, Mr. Longo.
Nothing tonight.
I just wanted to ask or mention that I know that the phys ed and health, department, there's state laws now coming out. I know I spoke to Dr. Cirillo briefly about it, and that too is being addressed. And I think the state is being more specific, especially in that area, besides the ELL with the Asian population, which, have you heard any more about that?
No.
Okay.
Everyone's spoken to.
Yeah, she hasn't really worked on it. Okay, as long as it'll be sure for September, we'll have it all in line. Next, negotiations, Ms. Garcia, Mr. Matisich?
Yes, we have, the central office support, their contract expired June 30th of 2022, so the fact that we have a resolution July 26th, 2022, and only a month behind schedule. The recommendation is, and the agreement, entered into is really just a 3% increase, that's the most significant. It's the same thing that we did with Diane Montemuro, and it's the same rate of increase per year is 3% for the other central office member staffs. There have been some, minor changes to the longevity scale, and that's it. So we just reached this resolution earlier this week. I didn't know if you wanted me to present it under new business, or if you wanna do
No, that's-
a resolution, or do it,
We can do it under negotiations, sure.
okay.
So you'd like to resolve this?
Yes, I would like to resolve, but we don't have a resolution because it just
Well, you
happened.
just made it.
Okay, so that is, so it's a verbal resolution, it's not a written resolution.
Okay, thank you, and second by Mr. Matisich. Any discussion? If not, roll call please.
Dr. Matarazzo.
Yes.
Yun Min,
Yes.
Anieska Garcia,
Yes.
Kevin Lim,
yes.
Peter Longo,
Yes.
John Madison.
Yes.
Charlie Shin.
Yes.
And thank you for that, lengthy discussion. And, I mean, the negotiation process is a very grueling one, so I commend you for that.
Just to let you know, Mr. Matarazzo, Dr. Matarazzo, all negotiations are done, finished, complete.
Excellent,
Yes, we're up to date.
excellent,
We're
excellent.
up to date.
So
Yes.
we're all, everyone is
If
satisfied,
anybody's
good.
looking for anything, tell them no.
Thank you, that's
This
it.
is the last contract that was outstanding.
Okay,
Well, I haven't had an opportunity to review the contract, and, I would like to request a copy.
Sure.
And also in the future, I would like to keep in the loop when you have this kind of negotiation, because as a board attorney, that's my job, to be in charge, or at least know.
Right, it's our
what's
job to be in
going
charge
on.
of terms, I guess it's your job to review the contract, so we just came to an agreement with terms, which is why we're presenting it to the board.
Okay.
okay, thank you. Next one would be, policy, Ms. Garcia.
No report.
Okay, PTA, TSA, Ms. Chung is not here, but I don't know if anybody has anything yet, no? Next one, student activities, Ms. Min, or field trip? Okay. Next one would be calendar, Ms. Min, I'm sorry, Mr. Kim, but he's not here, so I don't think there's any. If not, old business.
So, I wanna know, can you get the updated information for the registration procedure?
Yes, so we are continuing to see families re-register. I literally, this afternoon, had another family send me their information, so it's an ongoing process. We are not seeing, Mr. Shin, at this point, we are not seeing many individuals that are re-registering that don't live here. Clearly, the ones near the end of the summer, when the deadline was given, would be the ones that might not be here.
Right.
The ones that are complying at this point clearly are proving that they do reside in Palisades Park.
Okay, please make us updated, okay?
Of course, thank you.
Good, thank you. Any other old business? If not, new business.
I do have one item I need to ask the board, as it was stated under my report. Annually, I am required to submit a school safety data submission to the Department of Education, so I ask for a motion and a second that I make that submission.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Second, discussion. If not, roll call please.
Dr. Matarazzo?
Yes.
Yun Min?
Yes.
Annieska Garcia?
Yes.
Kevin Lim?
Yes.
Peter Longo?
Yes.
John Matisich?
Yes.
Charlie Shin?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's it for new business? Audience participation. Would like to open that?
I just wanted to say thank you, Paul, for giving me the opportunity to oversee the physical education, health, and sports teams here at Palisades Park. It's an honor. Thank you, Dr. Matarazzo, Dr. Skrill, and board for this. I've been, I started my career here substituting here at
Full
Palisades
circle.
Park, full circle,
Yeah.
and I coached here for over 10 years as the head wrestling coach and as a baseball coach. What else? Through the
As a
rec.
participant too.
Yeah, as a participant as well. And I just wanted to say how much gratitude I have for giving me that opportunity. And thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you. Any other audience participation? Yes, sir. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Alex.
Go ahead, go.
I'd like to say thank you to the board for the approval of the Junior Police Academy to be done on the school property. It was a huge success. I'd like to thank Mr. Shin for your donation of the hats. The kids really did love the hats. If you get a chance, if you go on the police social media page, you can see a little 5-minute video that we put together for the kids. The facilities were great. The kids had a great time. I appreciate Dr. Cirillo's help, Dr. Matarazzo as well, and all your board. We hope this is a program to continue going on for the next couple of decades, hopefully. Budgeting hopefully is okay with that. But the kids had a great time. They had a great experience, and they loved it. So I hope it's something we can continue. But I'd say thank you.
Thank
Will
you.
they only be available in the summer? Will they only be offered in the summer?
Most likely, because school's in session, unless we do a night program, that's something I'll discuss with Captain Espino. We have different ideas for the future of what to do with it, and maybe even for high school seniors, for juniors and seniors. Yeah, we got a huge audience about a lot of kids were coming with their parents after we started, asking to join up. We may open it up, make it bigger next year. It's all on funding and depending how what's going on with work. But we definitely want to make this a program for the future. Captain Espino and myself definitely want to do that. Thank you, Alex.
That, a lot of parents love to,
The parents loved it. I spoke to the parents basically almost every day as they were coming in and as they were going home. The students were excellent. For 5th graders, we took them to New York City. We took 24 kids, and I got called from every other town saying, "You're crazy." The kids were so well respected, so well mannered. They listened to everything we said. I couldn't ask for a better group of kids. And actually, some of them broke out of their shell. Some kids were shy. By the time they left, they made new friends and they opened up, which is what we wanted to build in that program. And they made new friends with each other, and plus with us. I see them on Broad Avenue. They call me all the time. It's a good thing. It's hopefully to build a stronger community together.
So how about the next year? Are you going to give a different grade?
It's a possibility. We may go. Sorry. It's something I discussed with Captain Espino what grades we want to do. Doing that it was 5th grade, the physical training, we didn't go too heavy with them. We went lightly. If they were older kids, we would do more running, a little bit harder. That's when I saw the video. We had the kids doing push-ups, sit-ups. We had to do a lot of physical activity getting ready. We may see what grade we're going to do, and then we'll go from there.
I was at the ceremony when they graduated, and they were so excited, the kids, and I commend you and your team for doing such an excellent job. And again, we are here anytime you need us and support anything you want to do.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, any other audience participants? Yes.
I have a few questions for Dr. Cirillo. I came a little late, but I heard the U.S. Star mention that we are free of the mall in the school, and that's a great news. I'm so happy for that, the limber is free. But I have a few questions for you, maybe you could share with us. What was the percent of the school that they have more at that time? And also, how was the process was done? And maybe if you could share the costly of that for us to know, because that was a very good news that you gave to us tonight, that we are free or more in Avesco that we have in our school. And that was a very good job that you did. And I would like to know more information about how you did, what was the cost of that and the process. And how, if you could share, I don't know if you give us that outside or how much of the mall and the school property that we have. Thank you.
So it's hard to analyze the percentage of the mold when and if any area is identified. There was an area in this building very close to where we are sitting, actually behind one of those walls, where water can penetrate a wall from the roof, of course, most times. And if it's unseen and untreated, undetected, it turns to mold. At that point, immediately, when it's brought to my attention, we immediately remove any and all individuals from the area. We do air quality tests before we determine it's mold. I'm not a mold expert. So we bring in a company, a approved company from the state of New Jersey, who assess the area. The spores, S-P-O-R-E-S, which are just samples of what looks like mold, I guess, is scraped by technicians, sent to a lab for analyzation. When the lab confirms the area, again, that room was isolated. No one enters that area. It is secured. It is 100% off limits to anyone and everyone. Once it is confirmed to be mold, a remediation company is brought in. In an area like the ECC, the scrubbing, the sampling of the area after the remediation, because we have to do an air quality again. It can cost anywhere from, $10,000 to $20,000 on average. It matters the size of the area. Lindbergh Elementary School, for example, there was a concern a few years ago about one of the stairwells. There was a size of a quarter, 25 cents, that was discolored. It was a discoloration, it was dark, it was identified and told to me. I immediately shut down that stairwell. A lot of people were upset, but again, I didn't want anyone entering or exiting that stairwell. We immediately had the company come in. We had them scrape the area, send it to the lab, come back for testing. When they started to scrub the wall, if you remember, I believe your daughter was a student there at the time, we saw that the whole wall started to come down of that stairwell. So we're talking about that project costing a little bit more, because what we thought was something the size of a quarter became replace the whole wall and replastering and, but again, we can't put a price tag on the safety and well-being of any student, any staff member. So immediately when these areas are identified, we react accordingly, and it's not we professionally doing anything.
No.
It is companies that are approved and licensed by the state of New Jersey. So on average, from the air quality testing, that can be, I've seen tests cost $700 to $2,000 for air quality per test on an area. I've seen the remediation, the scrubbing cost, again, depending on the area, $2,000 to $10,000. And then an air quality at the end again. So it's there are rolling costs. I can't just put a dollar amount on it.
But we was, at that time, I remember my daughter was attending school at that time. But, you handle it really well. You handle it like poor education handling their own. Now with no help from the town, and also, we was in school. We just covered in plastic. Because I have picture of that. We covered in plastic, we stayed in the building, but we wasn't in that area. So that's how we handle, because unfortunately, we don't have another place to move out of the school, and we have to keep teaching. And you handle it, and I'm happy that this is clear now, and that we did. And hopefully, and that was one of the reasons you go for the referendum, unfortunately, it was rejected. It was down, but, because that's one of the main reasons, because, you know, repair that, it could come back. It's no guarantee that we can get more again, in all school. But, unfortunately, you know, we don't have, all support from the town to support our school, but I'm happy to hear that we are cleared up.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's a good point, and I wanna commend Dr. Cirillo, because really, that's the job of the buildings and grounds, of the business administrator to oversee the buildings and grounds, and I'm so confident and happy that Alex is gonna be taking on this, grueling task, and I know we'll be on top of it even more, but it's a good point, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other audience participation? If not, I'd like to close this portion of audience.
I do have one item
Yes,
for
sir.
closed session.
And, okay, I'd like to entertain a motion that we go into closed session, and we'll be back.
There's only a vote on one HIB, incident, so nothing major. If you'd like to stay, it should not be long.
Okay,
If not, have a great month of August.
any motion on that?
I'll make a motion to go into closed.
Second?
Stephanie?
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Officially closed.